Have you ever woken from a dream so vivid, so strange, or so profound that it stayed with you for the rest of the day, leaving you with a lingering question? What was that trying to tell me? In our fast-paced modern world, we often dismiss dreams as random neural firings, the mind's way of cleaning house while we sleep. But what if there's something more? What if dreams are not just chaotic noise, but a coherent, symbolic language, a direct line to the deepest, wisest parts of ourselves? What if they are, in fact, portals to a spiritual reality that we have forgotten how to access? This very question lies at the heart of the work of one of the 20th century's most influential thinkers, the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung. He dared to propose that the psyche is not a mere product of personal history, but a vast, ancient landscape, and that our dreams are the maps that guide us through it. For Jung, the dream world was not a place of illusion, but a realm of profound truth, a sacred space where the soul speaks. Jung's departure from the purely pathological and biographical view of the mind opened up a new frontier in psychology, one that re-enchanted the human experience. He saw the modern individual as suffering from a loss of meaning, disconnected from the myths, rituals, and symbols that once gave life a sense of purpose and depth. He believed that this connection could be rediscovered not by looking outward, but by turning inward into the rich, symbolic world of the unconscious. This is where dreams become our most trusted guides. They're not trying to trick us or confuse us. They're actively trying to communicate, to compensate for the one-sidedness of our conscious attitudes, and to lead us toward a state of greater wholeness and balance. This video will explore the revolutionary perspective of Jungian dream analysis, not as a simple tool for deciphering bizarre nightly narratives, but as a profound spiritual practice. We will journey into the core of Jung's thought, uncovering how he viewed dreams as sacred messages from the self, the divine center of the psyche. The purpose of this exploration is to equip you with a new lens through which to view your own inner world. We will move beyond simplistic dream dictionaries and delve into the art of understanding your unique symbolic language. We will investigate how dreams function as spiritual portals, offering glimpses into the numinous, healing deep-seated psychological wounds, and illuminating the path of what Jung called individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming the person you were always meant to be. By the end of our time together, you will understand that your dreams are not random events to be forgotten upon waking. They are a nightly invitation from your soul, a call to adventure, a guide for transformation, and a testament to the fact that a deep, spiritual intelligence is at work within you, constantly striving to bring you into harmony with yourself and with the cosmos. Let's begin this journey into the heart of the night. To understand the power of Jungian dream work, we must first understand the man who pioneered it. Carl Gustav Jung, born in Switzerland in 1875, was more than just a psychiatrist. He was a true explorer of the human soul. Initially a protege of Sigmund Freud, Jung was destined to become the heir to the psychoanalytic throne. However, their paths diverged dramatically over a fundamental disagreement about the nature of the psyche. While Freud saw the unconscious primarily as a repository for repressed sexual desires and personal traumas, a sort of psychic basement filled with our personal demons, Jung envisioned something far grander and more mysterious. He proposed that beneath our personal unconscious lay a deeper, universal layer he called the collective unconscious. This, he argued, was a psychic inheritance shared by all of humanity, a vast reservoir of latent memories, instincts, and universal patterns that have been shaped by the cumulative experiences of our ancestors throughout history. It is the source of our myths, our religions, our fairy tales, and the profound symbols that emerge in our dreams. Within this collective unconscious reside the archetypes. These are not inherited ideas, but innate, universal psychic structures or patterns of behavior and imagery. Think of them as the original blueprints for our most fundamental human experiences: the hero's journey, the nurturing great mother, the wise old man or woman, the devouring trickster. And crucially, Jung identified archetypes that map out our own inner development. The shadow represents the dark side of our personality, all the parts of ourselves that we repress and deny, but which hold immense energy and potential for growth if integrated. The anima in a man and the animus in a woman represent the inner, contrasexual soul image, the gateway to the collective unconscious and the key to relational and creative depth. At the center of it all is the self, the ultimate archetype of wholeness and unity, often symbolized by a circle, a mandala, or a divine child. The entire goal of Jungian psychology is a process he called individuation, the conscious journey of integrating these disparate parts of the psyche to become a whole, unique individual, guided by the wisdom of the self. This framework marked a radical shift in psychology. Jung's break with Freud was not just a theoretical squabble. It was a profound reorientation of psychology's purpose. Where Freud sought to cure neurosis by bringing personal repressed material to light, Jung sought to help individuals find meaning. He saw that many of his patients were not suffering from a specific pathology, but from a spiritual emptiness, a sense of purposelessness in a disenchanted world. He famously said, "I have treated many hundreds of patients. Among those in the second half of life, there's not been one whose problem in the last resort was not that of finding a religious outlook on life." For Jung, spirituality was not a delusion or a byproduct of oppression. It was a fundamental human need, an instinctual drive toward wholeness and connection with something larger than the ego. His psychology became a bridge between science and spirituality, reason and mystery, and it is through the portal of the dream that this bridge is most often crossed. In the Jungian view, a dream is never just a dream. It is a spontaneous, uncensored, and deeply honest communication from the unconscious mind. While our conscious ego spends its days navigating the world with logic, planning, and social masks, the unconscious speaks at night in its native tongue, the language of symbols, metaphors, and images. Jung believed that dreams are not trying to hide their meaning, as Freud's theory of dream censorship suggested. Instead, they present their meaning in the most direct way possible for the unconscious. The problem is not that dreams are deceptive, but that our modern, rational minds have forgotten how to understand this ancient, symbolic language. A dream about your house crumbling, for instance, isn't a literal prediction, but might be a powerful symbol for the current state of your psyche or your life structure. The dream chooses the most fitting image to convey a complex emotional and psychological truth. The dream, therefore, acts as a perfect mirror of the soul's inner state. It reflects what is happening in our inner world with unflinching accuracy, revealing truths that our conscious mind may be unwilling or unable to face. It shows us where we are out of balance, what we are neglecting, and what needs our attention. This is what Jung called the compensatory function of dreams. If your conscious attitude is overly optimistic and ignores potential dangers, your dreams might be filled with anxious or threatening scenarios, not to terrorize you, but to bring a necessary dose of reality and caution into your awareness. Conversely, if you are stuck in a state of despair and hopelessness, a dream might present an image of breathtaking beauty or a symbol of new life, like a sprouting seed, to remind you of the potential for renewal that still exists within you. The dream is the psyche's natural self-regulating system, constantly working to restore balance and guide us toward wholeness. It is not merely a mental event, but a psychic one, an experience that involves our entire being, mind, body, and spirit. Ultimately, Jung saw dreams as essential partners in our development. They are not relics of a primitive past, but vital tools for personal growth, healing, and spiritual evolution. Every dream, no matter how mundane or bizarre, contains a seed of wisdom. They help us process unresolved conflicts, heal from past traumas by reframing them in a symbolic context, and offer creative solutions to problems our conscious mind cannot solve. Most importantly, they connect us to the larger story of our lives, the path of individuation. The dream is a nightly report from the front lines of our inner journey, showing us which battles we are fighting, which allies we have, and what the ultimate goal, the integration of the self, looks like. By learning to listen to our dreams, we are essentially learning to listen to the whisperings of our own soul, which is constantly guiding us toward our fullest and most authentic expression. Jung understood dreams as occupying a liminal space, a sacred threshold between worlds. They are the bridge between the ordinary reality of our conscious ego and the extraordinary, timeless reality of the collective unconscious, or what many spiritual traditions would simply call the divine. In this liminal state, the rigid laws of time, space, and logic dissolve, allowing for a different kind of perception to emerge. Here, the psyche is open to receiving information and wisdom that is normally inaccessible. This is why dreams often feel so otherworldly. They are quite literally taking us to another world, the inner world, where the soul communicates directly. It is on this threshold that the personal meets the universal, and the finite ego comes into contact with the infinite self. This contact is not just therapeutic, it is inherently spiritual. It is an experience of connection to the vast, mysterious ground of our own being. Within this sacred space, dreams deliver their messages through powerful symbols and mythic motifs that resonate with the deepest parts of our being. A dream might feature a wise animal guide, a journey into a dark cave, a climb up a sacred mountain, or the discovery of a hidden treasure. These are not random narrative elements. They are archetypal patterns drawn from the collective human story. They are messages from the self, the organizing center of the psyche, which Jung often equated with the imago Dei, or the image of God within. The self uses the dream to guide the ego, much like a spiritual master guides a disciple. It points out our flaws, illuminates our potential, and reminds us of our connection to a reality that transcends our personal concerns. The dream becomes a form of personal revelation, a private mythology that, when understood, can provide the same sense of meaning and orientation that great religious traditions once provided for entire cultures. Some dreams are so powerful and resonant that they stand out from all others. Jung called these numinous dreams. The term numinous, borrowed from the theologian Rudolf Otto, describes an experience of the divine that is simultaneously terrifying and fascinating, inspiring a sense of awe, mystery, and reverence. A numinous dream feels more real than reality itself. It might involve a direct encounter with a divine figure, a vision of cosmic beauty, or a profound insight that shatters your previous understanding of the world. These are big dreams, and they often serve as major turning points in a person's life. They can initiate a spiritual awakening, provide a clear sense of vocation or purpose, or offer profound comfort and healing during a period of crisis. For example, Jung himself had a powerful numinous dream of a giant, phallic god enthroned in an underground chamber, a vision that, while disturbing, set him on his lifelong path of exploring the deeper, non-personal layers of the psyche. These dreams are undeniable proof that the dream world is not just a psychological space, but a spiritual portal through which the sacred can enter our lives and redirect our destiny. To navigate the spiritual landscape of our dreams, we need to become familiar with its inhabitants. According to Jung, our dreams are populated by archetypes, the universal, primordial characters and situations that form the building blocks of the collective unconscious. These are not just abstract concepts. They are living, dynamic energies within the psyche that personify our deepest instincts, potentials, and conflicts. When we dream of a terrifying monster chasing us, we are meeting our shadow. When we dream of a mysterious, alluring figure who offers guidance or distraction, we may be encountering our anima or animus. A dream of a wise elder giving us a crucial piece of advice is an encounter with the wise old man or woman archetype. A dream of embarking on a perilous quest to achieve a great goal is the enactment of the timeless hero's journey. These figures are not just figments of our imagination. They're aspects of our own expanded self. These archetypal figures serve as our guides, our challengers, and our companions in the inner world. They are the cast of a divine drama playing out nightly in the theater of our minds. And the play is always about our own journey toward wholeness. The shadow, for example, is not an enemy to be vanquished, but a disowned part of ourselves that must be confronted and integrated. It holds our repressed vitality, creativity, and authenticity. The hero in our dreams is the part of our ego that has the courage to undertake this difficult work of integration. The anima or animus acts as our soul guide, leading us into the depths of the unconscious and helping us connect with our inner world. But if left unconscious, can also project itself onto others, leading to complicated and fraught relationships. By learning to recognize these archetypes, we can begin to understand the roles they are playing in our lives. They show us what psychological tasks we are currently facing and what inner resources we have at our disposal. Understanding the archetypal language of dreams allows for a much deeper interpretation than a purely personal one. It connects our individual struggles and triumphs to the great, universal stories of humanity. When you dream of battling a dragon, you're not just dealing with your personal anxieties. You are participating in the same archetypal struggle that heroes from myths all over the world have faced for millennia. This realization is profoundly empowering. It lifts our personal problems out of isolation and places them within a meaningful, mythic context. Your dream of being lost in a dark forest is not just your confusion. It is the universal human experience of disorientation before a period of transformation. Your dream of finding a sacred object connects you to every quest for the Holy Grail, every search for the Philosopher's Stone. Your dreams are your own personal mythology, and by studying the archetypes within them, you learn to read the sacred story of your own soul's journey. The ultimate purpose of this inner journey, this engagement with dreams and archetypes, is what Jung called individuation. This is perhaps the most crucial concept in his entire body of work. Individuation is the lifelong, natural process of psychological development, through which a person becomes who they truly are, a whole, integrated, and unique individual, distinct from collective identities and expectations. It is not about becoming perfect or achieving some kind of static enlightenment, but about becoming more fully and consciously oneself. Jung often compared this process to the ancient art of alchemy. Just as the alchemists sought to transform base metals into gold, the individual on the path of individuation seeks to transform the raw, unconscious, and often conflicting parts of their psyche into a unified, luminous whole. And in this inner alchemical process, dreams are the essential instructions, the guiding formulas from the master alchemist, the self. The journey of individuation, as mapped out in our dreams, requires us to consciously confront and integrate the major archetypes. The first and most crucial stage is the confrontation with the shadow. Our dreams will relentlessly present us with figures we find contemptible, frightening, or shameful. The ego's first instinct is to disavow these figures, to say, "That is not me." But the work of individuation demands that we recognize these figures as disowned parts of ourselves. By withdrawing our projections and acknowledging our own capacity for these dark qualities, we reclaim the immense psychic energy that was locked away in them. This is a humbling but profoundly liberating step, as it makes us more whole, more honest, and more compassionate. Our dreams act as the relentless mirror, ensuring we do not shy away from this necessary and difficult work. After beginning to integrate the shadow, the dreamer is then led deeper into the psyche to encounter the anima for a man or animus for a woman. This soul figure appears in dreams as a personification of the dreamer's contrasexual side and acts as the bridge to the collective unconscious. Integrating this archetype involves developing a conscious relationship with our inner feminine or masculine qualities, leading to greater creativity, emotional depth, and a more balanced perspective. Finally, through this long and often arduous process, the center of the personality begins to shift from the ego to the self. The self is the archetype of wholeness, the regulating center that unites all the opposites. Dreams will often symbolize the emergence of the self through images of mandalas, divine children, or precious jewels. At this stage, dreams no longer just compensate for the ego's biases. They become direct communications from this center, offering profound wisdom and guidance. In this way, dreams are not just nightly entertainment. They're our most faithful spiritual companions on the sacred, alchemical journey toward becoming whole. Understanding the profound potential of dreams is one thing. Learning how to access their wisdom is another. Jungian dream work is not a rigid science, but a practical art, an intimate dialogue with your own psyche. The single most important practice is to keep a dream journal. Place a notebook and pen by your bed, and upon waking, before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before your mind becomes cluttered with the day's agenda, write down everything you can remember. Don't worry about grammar, coherence, or interpretation at this stage. Record the setting, the characters, the plot, the colors, and most importantly, the feelings. The emotional tone of the dream is a crucial clue to its meaning. Even if you only remember a fragment or a single image, write it down. This simple act of honoring your dreams sends a powerful message to your unconscious. I am listening. Over time, you will find that your recall improves dramatically. Once you have a record of your dreams, the work of interpretation begins. The first step is to look for patterns. Are there recurring symbols, characters, or situations? These are often pointing to a central issue or an ongoing psychological process. A recurring dream of being unprepared for an exam, for example, might speak to a persistent feeling of being tested or judged in your waking life. The next and most vital step is to engage with the symbols personally. Instead of looking up a symbol in a dream dictionary, which gives generic, often misleading definitions, Jung would have us practice amplification. This involves exploring all the personal and cultural associations a symbol holds for you. If you dream of a snake, what does a snake mean to you? Does it evoke fear, healing, temptation, or transformation? Then, ask the fundamental Jungian question: what part of me does this symbol represent? If the snake is cunning and sheds its skin, it might represent a part of you that is capable of sly intelligence and radical transformation. Every element in the dream is a part of you. To go even deeper, you can practice what Jung called active imagination. This is a powerful meditative technique where you consciously re-enter the dreamscape in a waking state. Find a quiet space, bring a dream image to mind, and allow it to become vivid. Then begin a dialogue with it. Ask the dream figure, the monster, the wise old woman, the lost child, what it wants, why it is there, and what message it has for you. Allow it to answer in its own voice, without your ego censoring or directing the conversation. This is not about making things up. It is about allowing the autonomous figures of the psyche to speak. This practice can lead to astonishing breakthroughs and profound emotional resolutions. You can also use your dreams as a focus for meditation, reflection, or as inspiration for creative work like painting or writing. For those facing particularly difficult or complex dreams, seeking guidance from a trained Jungian analyst can provide invaluable support and insight, helping you navigate the deepest and most transformative layers of your inner world. The true power of Jungian dream analysis is best seen in its transformative impact on real lives. While client confidentiality prevents the sharing of specific modern cases, Jung's own writings and historical records are filled with examples of how a single dream, properly understood, could shift a person's entire life trajectory from crisis to purpose. One of Jung's most famous cases involved a highly rational, successful man who was spiritually empty and whose life felt meaningless. He came to Jung armed with his intellectual achievements, but was plagued by dreams that he couldn't rationalize away. In one pivotal dream, he was at a social gathering where he was offered a plate of wholesome bread, which he politely refused, saying he only ate the finest cake. Jung helped him see that the dream was a direct message from his soul. The wholesome bread represented a simpler, more authentic, and more spiritually nourishing way of life, which his proud, intellectual ego, the finest cake, was rejecting. This interpretation broke through the man's intellectual defenses, helping him to embrace a more grounded and meaningful existence. Another powerful example comes from a patient of Jung's who was a young woman suffering from a severe father complex, which left her emotionally paralyzed and unable to form healthy relationships. She had a recurring dream in which her father was driving a car erratically and dangerously, with her as a terrified passenger. Through their work, she came to understand that the dream car represented the vehicle of her own life, and her father at the wheel symbolized how she had allowed his influence and her perception of him to recklessly steer her destiny. The dream was not just a memory, but a living metaphor for her current psychological state. The moment she grasped this, she had another dream. This time, she was sitting in the driver's seat of a strange, futuristic car, holding a complex celestial map. The dream showed her that she had taken control of her own life, the car, and was now being guided by something far greater and more cosmic, the celestial map. This dream marked the turning point in her healing, liberating her from the past and opening her to her own future. These cases underscore a crucial Jungian principle. Even the most disturbing or terrifying dreams carry immense healing potential. A nightmare is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that your psyche is urgently trying to get your attention about something that is wrong in your life. It is an alarm bell from the soul. A dream of being chased is often a message to turn and face what you are running from, your shadow. A dream of falling can symbolize a loss of control or a need to let go of an old ego attitude. A dream of paralysis can point to a situation in waking life where you feel helpless and stuck. By turning toward these difficult dreams with curiosity and courage, instead of fear, we can uncover the very message that holds the key to our liberation. The monster in the dream often guards a hidden treasure, and the journey into the abyss is what leads to the discovery of the light. These dreams are not curses, but challenging blessings, potent medicine for the soul. We began with a question: what are our dreams trying to tell us? We have journeyed through the visionary world of Carl Jung to find an answer that is as profound as it is empowering. The answer is that our dreams are telling us the story of our own becoming. They are not random illusions or meaningless fragments of a sleeping brain. They are sacred messages from the deepest, wisest part of ourselves, guidance from the divine center Jung called the self. They are the living, breathing map of our soul's evolution, compensating for our conscious blind spots, challenging us to integrate our shadow and constantly pointing the way toward wholeness. To engage with our dreams is to accept a sacred invitation, an invitation to participate consciously in our own transformation. It is to recognize that a spiritual intelligence is at work within us, night after night, weaving the raw material of our lives into a tapestry of meaning. The implications of this perspective are life-altering. It means that you have a wise, inner spiritual teacher who communicates with you every single night for free. It means that even in your darkest moments of confusion, crisis, or despair, a guiding force is at work, offering symbols of hope and pathways to healing. It means that your life is not a random series of events, but a meaningful, mythic journey with its own unique purpose. To see dreams as spiritual portals is to re-enchant your own life, to see the sacred not just in ancient texts or distant temples, but in the intimate theater of your own mind. It encourages us to live with a new kind of attention, a new reverence for the inner world, and a new trust in the profound wisdom that lies just beneath the surface of our waking consciousness. Your dreams are proof that you are far vaster and more mysterious than your ego believes. So the real journey begins now, for you. The knowledge is not enough. The experience is everything. I want to leave you with a call to action, an invitation to begin your own dialogue with the soul. Start writing down your dreams today. Tonight, keep a journal by your bed and honor whatever comes through. Ask yourself, with genuine curiosity and without judgment, what is my unconscious trying to tell me right now? Listen to the whispers from your inner world. You may be astonished at what you discover. If this exploration of Jung and the spiritual power of dreams sparked your curiosity, please subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into depth psychology, symbolism, and the inner journey. And share in the comments below, what is a powerful dream symbol that has stayed with you? Your inner world is calling. All you have to do is listen.